Why did they take all of those books out of the Bible? Well, because those books prove that we live on a flat earth and not a round one. Period. Glory be to God.
What you'd most likely see is if you got to the edge, you'd see a glass, kind of a glass wall. There have been some videos of people that are talking about, like, that there's it's blue, it's kind of bluish, a blue ice glass wall if you got to the edge. Now, there's two possibilities, and I'll show you a picture of what it could possibly look like. Okay, so let's say, you're in that ocean, right? And then you see at the very edge, this ice wall, and this is going all the way around. Just picture this was going all the way around like this. So at the edge, you'd see the end of the firmament, right? And on the top and all around is water. So it's kind of like you're in a snow globe, right? But now this is us on here. Now you travel out, and you get to the end, you'd see some kind of impenetrable barrier that you can't go through to the other side. Now there's a second option, and here's a theory that some people have had that, it's possible that there's beyond this wall, initial wall, that there are other lands outside beyond that wall, but it still would be flat, and it still would be some kind of dome over the edge of the end of whatever the end is. So if you take it and you put it like flat like this, right, there would be some kind of bowl dome that go all the way down to the edge like that, still over everything. All right. But that necessarily wouldn't be biblical. Biblically, we have it's not limited, but this is what it looks like. The seal that we talk about in Job that I showed you. Like, say this is like, North America, South America, Africa, Asia, whatever, in the middle part. And then on the edge, see the ring around here, the seal, how it's upturned at the edge of a seal. That is the ice wall that we're seeing. And then, coming over this would be like a dome. Boop, boop, just take a little ball and stick it right on top of here. Boop, like that, like a semicircle, half dome. And that's basically what you would most likely see. For a refresher, this is Job 38, and I'll go to 13 and 14. I just showed you 14, but I'll just show you in context where's the earth. That it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that wicked might be shaken out of it. It is turned as clay to the seal. Now, the it is definitely referencing the earth. So it is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as. And for the original design, you can go to Genesis 1 and 6. And Elohim or Elohim said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. So that's when you look at that firmament, that dome, there's waters above, like up here, right? And then waters below. This dome right here is what's protecting us from all of the waters that are above. It's not empty space above, it's water. Also, it should be noted that the lights, the stars aren't just lights, they're actually angels. Those are beings. Which is why the stars can fall, and when the fallen stars, or the fall is the word for the fallen, right? And the Nephilim are the ones that mixed with mankind. They're the offspring of the fallen angels, the watchers, and the human beings, the women that were the female human women that were on earth at the time. So when you see a falling star, that's not a falling star. That's actually a falling angel. All right, there's an angel, as an angel comes down. You could also look in Genesis 40 something, I can't remember, 14, I can't remember, but it's for Jacob's ladder. You see the angels going up and down, up and down, up and down. To go deeper into it, you can go into the book of Enoch, which is an apocryphal book. It's an extra book to get more into what it says in Genesis 6 and 4 about the giants and the Nephilim, and how it's because the sons of God came down. So those stars above that are just shining, those are actual beings. Those are angels.
So we all know how Werner von Braun and Walt Disney were best friends, right? Not only in the cartoons, but Mickey Mouse and his spaceship, page 1. And on page 11, boy, they love their numbers. They have their spaceship building in their barn at barn 6. And they have to have several shots of not only the moon, but of the spherical Earth out the window, and then coming back to land. People literally ask me all the time, why does flat Earth matter? It matters so much because they are trying to hide God. It is such a big answer that people cannot wrap their brain around this. But I'm telling you right now, once you look into this and you lean into this, it literally shows you everything that's going on in our world. This is our great pal, Mr. Disney, and his friend, Werner von Braun. And on Werner von Braun's tombstone is Psalms 19:1, which is literally telling you about the firmament and how the firmament shows the handiwork of God's creation.
Until you can show me an actual picture of Earth and not the ones NASA create through CGI, basically Photoshop, until you can show me an actual picture of Earth, I believe the Earth is flat. Yes, I'm a flat earther. I stand by the Earth is flat. You might think, what do they have to gain by lying to us about that? I don't know. That's the bit I haven't figured out yet. But why do they lie about everything? And why is NASA translated in Old Hebrew mean to lead astray, to deceive? You know NASA, the space people, to deceive, to lead astray, to beguile. Oh, and the founder of NASA, do you know what he has on his grave? It's Psalm 19 verse 1. Do you know what that says? But essentially that the firmament shows God's handiwork. Do you know what the firmament is? Let me tell you what the firmament is. Genesis 1 verse 6. And God said, let there be a firmament and let it divide the waters from the waters. God made the firmament and divided the waters above from the waters below. And God called the firmament heaven. Skip to verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night. Sun, moon. Don't know about you, but I didn't hear anything about solar system, planets, blah, blah, blah. And feel free to tell me if you feel like I'm interpreting this wrong. In fact, next time you get on a plane, ask the pilot if they think the Earth is flat or a sphere. This is the map that pilots use to plan their route, by the way. And this is the flat Earth map. And the routes that airplanes take wouldn't make sense if the Earth was actually a ball, because look, it would go like this. Doesn't make any sense. Also, notice how Antarctica isn't at the bottom, like they tell us. It's all around. Proverbs 8:27, when he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass on the face of the depth, the sea. You know what else? The Bible always talks about the four corners of the earth. You know what doesn't have four corners? A ball. Do you know what does? A circle. A flat circle. Oh, and look at the United Nations flag. What does that look like? Flat earth map to me. And do you see the Antarctic down here? Because I don't. Also very interesting that 193 countries that can't agree on anything ever and are always at war constantly have come together to agree that nobody is allowed to explore the Antarctic unless it's part of an organised expedition with a permit. Even then, that's only the inner sections of the Antarctic. Remember how the Bible says that there's waters above and waters below? Do you know how astronauts train for spacewalks? Underwater. Yeah. Craziest thing is, if you actually wanted to do research, I know. If you actually wanted to do research on this, you'd have to use YouTube and Google alternatives. All you'll find on Google and YouTube is flat Earth being debunked. As in, they won't even show you the other side of the argument. Yeah, I'm trying to tell them. Yeah, they won't even show you the other side of the argument. Interesting. Call me crazy, call me a conspiracy theorist. Show me a picture of Earth, a real one.
These kind of comments literally blow my mind. You're coming here and you're telling me that people misunderstand the definition of the firmament as it's not a barrier above Earth, but is our atmosphere. Well, obviously, you've never even taken the time to read the very first book of the Bible, or even the first chapter of the first book, which is Genesis. And if you would have even taken the time to research the firmament, Wikipedia will tell you in biblical cosmology, the firmament, the Hebrew word rakia, is the vast solid dome created by God during the Genesis creation narrative to divide the primal sea into upper and lower portions so that the dry land could appear. And this is an artist's depiction of what the Bible describes in Genesis as the firmament. You see, you've got a vast, solid dome here, waters above, and then waters below. And the Bible says that God set the sun, the moon, and the stars in the firmament for light upon the earth. And they're also for signs, for seasons, and days, and years. He wasn't talking about clouds or the wind. How is the wind or the atmosphere going to divide a massive body of water like this, or even one like our oceans beneath? Water requires a container, and it also seeks its own level. See, what you fail to understand is there is a sphere, but it is the sky. It is a celestial sphere, and we live inside of the celestial sphere. We don't live on a sphere. We live in it. And what's interesting is God spent the entire second day of creation making the firmament. And you can find verses all throughout the Bible that literally describes it as a hard, fast barrier, clear as glass. And it says that he stretches it out like a curtain or like a tent to dwell in. The Bible also says that the earth is his footstool. You see, God resides above the firmament. That's where his throne is. You see, God is near to us. He's not far. He's not in some other dimension on the other side of outer space, as you call it. No, he's seated on his throne right above the firmament, and he looks down and he watches us on the earth. It says we're like grasshoppers compared to the Lord. And since you won't read your Bible, I'll read mine to you. It says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night sheweth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them he hath set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoicing as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from one end of heaven to the other, and his circuit unto the ends of it, from one end of heaven to the other, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. So you see, right here in this passage in Psalms, it tells us it's the sun that moves, and it is the sun that goes in a circuit, which means a circle, a circular path above the stationary flat earth. The Bible does not teach that the earth goes around the sun. The Bible teaches that the sun goes around the earth. Well, let's look at what the book of Job says about the firmament. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong, and as a molten looking glass? So how are you going to tell God what he didn't create when his word clearly says he did create it? So this right here is a much more accurate depiction of where we live. You see, the sun and the moon are in the firmament, and they make their circuit above the stationary flat earth. And there is no such thing as outer space. The stars are also in the firmament. They're just a little higher up than the sun and the moon are. But it is the sun, moon, and stars that make their circuit, their orbits, above the earth. And there also is no edge, as you guys think. The earth is not a disk floating in space. It is on a firm foundation according to the Bible. And if you were to make it to the ice wall, which is what holds the oceans in, you can't go any further. You literally cannot fall off the earth. And if you got past the ice wall, guess what? You're going to reach the firmament, and you will not be able to go any further. And by the way, circumnavigation just means you sail in a circle around the continents on this flat, stationary earth. The North Pole, it's at the center of the flat earth. And there's a giant mountain at the North Pole, which is, they call it Rupus Nigra, or Black Rock is a nickname for it. It's a giant magnetic mountain, and that's how compasses work. They point north to the magnetic North Pole. And south is any direction away from north, is south. You see, what they did was they took the flat earth, map and wrapped it around a ball, and then reverse engineered everything, the cosmology, all of it. But this is a really good depiction of biblical cosmology, and it is true. You don't observe the earth moving whatsoever. The earth is at rest. You observe the sun and the moon and the stars orbiting above you as you sit still underneath them. You see, whatever side of the earth the sun is on is in daylight. The opposite side is in darkness. Because the sun is small and local, it takes its local light with it as it moves further away from you to the other side of the earth. And the reason you cannot see the sun from everywhere on earth, like the sun's over here, people over here cannot see it, because you're a tiny little microscopic speck, and you can only see, a certain distance around you. Your eyes cannot see indefinitely far. Telescopes cannot even see indefinitely far. The reason telescopes can see these stars and the sun and the moon so clearly is because they're close, they're local. If they were millions of light years away, not only would they be invisible to the naked eye, but you wouldn't even be able to see them with a telescope. But you need to stop saying that the firmament is not a literal barrier, because it is, and that is exactly how the Bible describes it. Even Wikipedia will tell you that if you look up the definition of the word firmament. It is not our atmosphere. The firmament contains our atmosphere. You see, it is impossible to have a pressurized atmosphere next to a vacuum without a container. But luckily, we do have a container, and that container is called the firmament. Have a blessed day.
The Flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived from 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also of the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alankar, known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo. I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific Ocean where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.